Get your towels up. Get your towels up. Steeler Nation and roll it around your head.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome y'all into the Get Your Towels Up visual podcast that we started. This is our first show. We're going to be talking a lot of Steeler news, a lot of Steeler topics. So we thank y'all for joining in. First of all, let me introduce everybody. My name is D. Walt, big Steeler fan. To the other side of me over here is my big uncle. We call him Al Nice, huge Steeler fan. He the one that got us all started. And at the bottom of the screen here, we got JJ Walker here, little cousin, Unc's son. He the next generation of Steeler fan in this Walker family. So we're all Walker bros, and we big Steeler fans. So welcome, and we all gonna have our own, interesting perspectives on, different things that the Steelers have going on. Particularly today, we're gonna be talking about the draft. We're gonna talk a season recap. And we're going to talk of some free agency pickups. So that's how we're going to start our show out. And we hope y'all enjoy. Feel free to hit us some feedback. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And y'all comment. Let us know what y'all think. And, ask questions, whatever. Y'all can hit us in our emails. And we're going to go from there. So let's start it out, fellas, with this, 2019 season recap, man. So we'll start with you, JJ. What do you think about, the Steelers seasons last year, 2019, finishing 8-8, man?
I mean, man, I think just right off the bat, I mean, if any Steelers fans can see, our defense is in my opinion, I think we elite. I mean, I think our defense is one of the best in the game right now. I mean, we were in games last year because of our defense. Because our offense, what happened to Ben and backup quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks. Our defense was the reason why we were even had a chance at making the playoffs. And the fact that our defense is where it is right now, I mean, we've been waiting for that as Steelers fans for a long time. A long time. And so now that it's finally here, I mean, I think that was just a good sign to see, even though our offense wasn't where it was supposed to be. But I think it was a good sign for our defense to finally see that, we finally can be elite. We finally got playmakers. We finally got young guys that can make plays and fly around the ball. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so you pair that with Ben coming back next year, we may have something going. Now as far as the offense, I think, we can kind of wash that up. I mean, because, there was some good things. We had Deontay Johnson, a rookie wide receiver who we drafted out of Toledo, who showed that maybe he can be a number one wide receiver in this offense. Everybody was talking about Juju, but I think what we saw last year was kind of maybe Juju isn't that type of number one receiver type guy. You know what I'm saying? You saw what Deontay Johnson was doing compared to what Juju was doing. You kind of saw, even though Juju was hurt, for most of the season, he was in and out. I think you can kind of see the differences between the two. Even though Deontay Johnson was a rookie, you saw that, okay, he can probably be this number one guy going forward. Yeah. I think James Washington took a step forward, as far as him being in his second year. I think, the offensive line, it didn't really look the same, man.
I think they're getting older, man. They're getting older.
Yeah, Marquise Pouncey was missing snaps, going over people's heads. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't what we used to. With Ramon Foster, he just rolling. He already did. Right. He just rolling and stuff. So he retired. So I think, on the offensive side, we got some things to work on, as far as, making sure our depth at the offensive line is better for the future. But I think with Ben coming back, I think we got some good weapons on the offense as far as our receiver core that, our offense can be lethal. People think our offense wasn't lethal because of our quarterback, which it wasn't. But I think with the addition of Ben coming back, we can be a pretty good team, going into the playoff. Randy Fittner, man, it wasn't a good year for him, though. Our offensive coordinator, man, he did not, now under the circumstances, I can understand, but, man, some of them play calls, bro, it just wasn't, when you have Jalen Samuels trying to throw an out route to James Washington, that's never good. You can't have that. That's not good. You can't have that. So I think this is going to be a big year for Randy Fittner because he's basically a hand-picked coach by Ben. So with Ben coming back, this is going to be a big year for Randy. If he stinks it up, you better believe he's out of there because we just got a new guy in Matt Canada from Pittsburg, from Pittsburg University to come in and help with the offense. So, If Randy Fitter don't do good, they're gonna put Matt Kennedy right up to the offensive coordinator position because we always looking forward. Ben ain't gonna be here too much longer. You know what I'm saying? We're about to go into a new regime. So I think, it's looking good for, as far as in the future, we looking good as long as everybody can stay healthy. We should be looking good going forward, man, in my opinion.
Bet. All right. Nice. What you thought about the season from last year, man?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with a lot of that stuff. I think we don't have a bad team at all. I mean, it's like 8-8. I mean, last year with a backup quarterback. I mean, that shows you right there. The team is not bad. I mean, the defense, we haven't seen a defense like this. I mean, since they're coming along, reminding you of the Super Bowl days, 43-40. Guys are flying around. Fitzpatrick, man. I mean, this guy is a godsend. He's anywhere where the ball is, and that's the kind of safety that you need to win a championship. Devin Bush, oh my goodness, this guy here. I mean, he just stepped in and landed running. I mean, this guy has not even looked like a rookie at no point. So these guys are going to be going into their second and third years and things like that. And then you got Dupree and TJ Watt, these guys sacking the quarterback, man. We finally got edge rushers that are actually sacking quarterbacks. So Ben Roethlisberger has not seen a play with a defense like this, where these guys are going. He hasn't seen that in a while. So I think that's going to help Ben out. And we all know that Ben wins Super Bowls when he has a good defense, because he needs a good defense usually. With the offensive side of the ball, we're still trying to find that number one running back. We got Connors and Snells and those guys. I think we still got some things we can use. Some guys that we can keep on the team and let them keep fighting it out. So I don't want to get into the draft yet, but the Steelers, we're not really starving for any one position. I mean, we've done a good job in our offseason signings, excellent job. So I think looking at last year, we're going to build on that. Ben will be back. We're going to get in the playoffs this year, and I do believe, and we'll see where we go from there.
All right, sounds good, both of you guys. Now, my take. Let's be real. Now, I told y'all last year, before the season even started, when AB and Bell got let go, which was cool. I understand how the Steelers work. We all understand they don't really put up with a lot of foolishness. They're not going to pay people a whole bunch of money if they don't feel like they're worth the money and all that kind of stuff. Totally fine. So this was the first season without AB and Bell. To both let them go. We knew that was going to sting the offense. I think the Steelers got off of their like tradition with the trying to go big offense and scoring all these points that they did, the past few seasons before last year. Yeah, they were scoring 40 points a game, 30 points a game, but the defense wasn't as good. They had to work on the defense, which was cool, and they did. But I knew going into the season that when they put all their eggs in one basket with Ben, that we were going to have trouble, because we knew all the offseason talk last year with AB and Bell talking about how bad Ben was and how he was with the management and how he was in. I figured, oh man, Ben is going to be the main guy, right? He was the only one that won Super Bowls on the team at that point, and had got to that point where he was the veteran. Okay, but I said if he gets hurt, we're going to be in trouble. Lo and behold, week 3, Ben goes down. Boom, now we're in trouble. And we go what? We go 1-4 before we, then we're in trouble. I was like, well, Ben's going to be our problem, and he was our problem. I think he's going to be our problem going forward, but we'll talk about that later. His health. Now that he can't play the position, I think he's one of the top, 5 quarterbacks in the league on any Sunday when he's healthy. But when we put all our eggs in one basket, it gave us trouble. Now, Tomlin saved the season with that pick of Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Week 3, I think that saved the season, man, and that saved Tomlin's job. Because I like Tomlin. I like Mike Tomlin, but I thought he was going to be fired if they did not turn the season around this past season. I said, man, they just gave him a contract extension, I know, but I was like, man, if they don't do something, because the Steelers have tradition, it's all about tradition over there. They're not going to be but so bad. And even Tomlin hasn't had a losing record since he's been the coach at the Steelers. He's been 8-8. Or better every single year, which is a great record for a head coach. And he finished his past season 8-8, which was awesome, saving the season with that first round pick trade to the Dolphins to get Minkah Fitzpatrick. That was a beautiful trade. Minkah came in and made a difference right away. Yes, we're going to talk about the draft here in a little bit, and I know it sucks that we don't have a first round draft pick, but at the same time, I don't think we could have got anything better with that first round draft pick than Minkah Fitzpatrick this coming
Exactly.
that's going to make that kind of impact right now.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
Overall, I think the season went well for what happened. The circumstances that we had. You playing with your second string and third string quarterback. I don't know too many teams in the NFL that's going to get down to their second and third string quarterbacks for the rest of the season and still go 8-8. I don't know too many teams that's going to do that. You know what I mean? So Tomlin and the staff and the organization and the players, they did a heck of a job. They didn't give up. They kept playing. And they still had a chance to make the playoffs at the end of the season. If they'd have won that Jets game, you go back and look at that Jets game, they could have won that game, but they didn't.
If we would have won a Jets game, we were going to probably go to the playoffs.
Yeah, that would have been the playoffs. And I really believe if the Steelers would have made the playoffs last year, that they would have been that team that nobody wanted to see. I think they could have made a little bit of noise there too because of the defense. Like y'all talk about. I talk about the offense, but that defense, man, like you said, Ben hasn't seen a defense like that since, like you said, Super Bowl 40 and Super Bowl 43. Those were defensive teams. Now, Ben played better in Super Bowl 43, but those both years that they won those Super Bowls, and even Super Bowl with the Packers.
Yeah, Super Bowl 45 too. We had a great defense. Yeah.
So the Steelers had their runs. And I think building off of last season, this season can be great. And I think even this year will be better, even if Ben goes down or when he goes down, because I'm a believer that he's going to get hurt again. Mason Rudolph, with all that experience that he got last season playing and being thrust into the starting job, he'll be better prepared this season when his opportunity comes. So I think going forward, they're going to be fine. And lastly, just to recap last season, I think Tomlin, him and Harbaugh had a neck and neck for Coach of the Year. I think, if it wasn't for what they did in Baltimore with Jackson, man, I think Harbaugh was deserving too, but Mike Tomlin definitely could have easily won Coach of the Year with what he did with that Steelers team, going from 1-4 and finishing the season 8-8. I mean, that's big. Right. So, that's my take on it, man.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I mean, Tomlin actually, to work with what he had to work with, I think it took more of a coach's intelligence, really. I mean, you got Lamar Jackson. I mean, you can conjure up some stuff, man, and win some games. I mean, yeah, I ain't taking credit for Harbaugh, but what Tomlin was working with was harder, I think, to win games. He didn't have a Lamar Jackson.
He was scrounging.
And yeah, he scrounged, man. And we made this thing work in a way where we didn't even have a losing season. So I think Harbaugh got the award, but I think Tomlin was probably had the harder job, if you ask me.
Yeah. Cool. All right, well, that's a nice season recap on everything, from 2019. Hopefully, with this coronavirus and stuff going on, we have a 2020 season and, everything starts on time and we can play some football. The NFL hasn't really been affected too much right now. They're doing everything like we're doing it, remotely and virtually. All right, fellas, let's jump off into some of these, what the Pittsburgh has done in this past offseason and ongoing offseason as they sign these free agents and fill some of these gaps that we know they have. What's y'all take on some of these free agents that they don't picked up? We're not necessarily going to talk about every single one of them, but just the ones we think going to make an impact, immediately, and the ones that we think are good signings.
You can go ahead.
The biggest one is I think we all agree is Eric Ebron. Man, he's going to make a huge, huge difference. I bet Ben is so glad to have him because this guy's athletic. He's fast. He wants the ball. He doesn't drop many catches. Heath Miller was a great tight end. I think Ebron brings a little bit more athleticism. Probably haven't had a tight end like this since Eric Green days. I mean, maybe Ebron's he's more like a receiver. He's probably even better than Eric Green if utilized the right way. So I think we can do a lot with Eric Ebron out there, and we can. I read something where they were saying we could run these two tight end sets like we used to, and I totally agree with that. But Vance over there at Ebron, man, on the same play, we can do some damage, man. And you still got your receivers out there. Ben's gonna have a great time with these receivers that he has out there catching the ball. So I think that's the biggest one, man. He's only thing about Ebron that they said he set himself down last year and he had that ankle injury and he never came back to play. They said the coaches didn't like that. I mean, he basically sat himself out in week 12 and never returned. He's taking care of himself. Obviously, the program doesn't like when they think you can go back in and you don't want to. So that's kind of a little something to keep in the back of your mind. But other than that, I mean, if he can, play tough through injuries, man, he's going to be a good one. So that's my favorite. I have a few more we can talk about, but I'll let you guys go.
I mean, I gotta agree. I think Eric Ebron is probably the one that's gonna make the most impact. But I think too, maybe the guard that we got from the Chiefs. I'm forgetting his name. I think it's like Wininski or something like that. I'm forgetting his name.
Yes, Stephen. Yes.
Stephen Wininski.
Yeah. I think he can make. I think he can compete for that starting left guard job. But I think Eric Ebron is probably going to be, the most popular pickup and probably the most that's going to make the most impact. But he got to make sure he's healthy. He's coming off that ankle injury. He had ankle surgery, and he's still working on trying to get back. So that's it's going to be a concern. But I think with this coronavirus going on, he got plenty of time because we're not going to have any OTAs. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably just going to be training camp, if that. So he has plenty of time to get back healthy. I think Chris Wormley we got from the Ravens. I think he's going to be a good addition. I don't know if they're going to play at the nose guard or just the DN that we play in 3-4. I don't know which one they're going to play him at. They got him listed as a nose tackle on the Steelers website, so I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. That's wait to be seen. But I think Eric Ebron is definitely going to be a big impact. He does have history with drops. That's the major concern with that. He has history with drops. So we've already saw what happened with drops with Dante Moncrief. It don't go too well.
No sir.
Dropping the ball left and right. So I think Eric Ebron brings a little bit more pedigree. He's been on a couple of teams, but I think people know who he is. He has a good enough resume to show that he may have a few drops, but he makes big plays. Unlike Dante Moncrief, where his resume wasn't really that good. So I think Eric Ebron is going to make a big impact, man. He just got to cut down the drops, make sure he's healthy, and he should be good. Along with the guard that we got from the Chiefs and the DN we got from the Ravens. I think those free agency pickups can really help us this season. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't people didn't really think we were going to do too much in free agency. That Eric Ebron contract and that pickup was really a shock to most people. Yeah. Nobody really thought we was gonna go out there and get, because we didn't have any cap. We had to make a lot of restructures to a lot of our players' contracts to even go out and do that type of stuff. So the fact that we did that shows that I don't think the Steelers thought too much about this tight end class. In the draft.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they went out to go get somebody like a Eric Ebron to shore up that tight end position, because we were lacking in that position. We had Vance McDonald, but behind him were a bunch of rookies. Zach Gentry, who's a raw guy, who was a rookie last year, who didn't even play. So we couldn't go into the season with those tight ends. So we had to go out and shore up that position and get someone like Eric Ebron so that we're good and we don't have to go into the draft to get another young guy. So I think go ahead.
I'm sorry. I want to mention too, I thought you were done. Kayvon Walker, the defensive end from the XFL. Did y'all see his tape?
Yep, I saw him. I was going to talk about him a little bit.
Yeah.
He's an XFL signing.
Yeah, he's going.
I'm sorry.
I think he's going to have a chance to make the team. Though. I mean, like you said, he's an XFL signing. He might be a body for camp, but if you watch him on film, man, he's not a bad guy, especially to replace Hargrave, man.
No, he's not bad at all. He'll be an excellent sub. Looks like. I mean, coming off the bench, man, to keep the tenacious defense going as far as grabbing quarterbacks. From what I saw, he has long arms. He's like a tree stump with arms, man. He can reach out and snatch quarterbacks as they're trying to scramble by him. And he's strong and just a huge guy. Now he doesn't play lazy, and his feet are very. He has good agility in traffic. He's down there with the lineman, but he's able to get to the quarterback through that traffic. So to be a big man.
He played linebacker in college at Maryland, so
mm-hmm.
he has like a linebacker mentality. That's probably what I think that helps him with that rush. Even if he's coming off from the D tackle spot or the DN spot, he's probably gonna be more like a D tackle. When I first saw him, I immediately thought about Hargraves. I think he's a little bit smaller, but he has an engine, man. He definitely has a motor to go.
And XFL just went bankrupt, so I guess there's plenty of guys you can look at over there.
Yeah, grab those guys, and that's the other thing, man. They come at a cheap cost. You don't have to pay them a lot of money coming in. They're
No.
XFL guys. to piggyback on what y'all was saying, though, I agree with all the signings. With Eric Ebron, I think that's the biggest one. JJ, like you were saying, I think that was a shot because the Steelers typically don't go after, big time free agents in the free agent market and spend a lot of money getting free agents. Typically, they do a lot of building from the draft, but you have to fill some holes. You have to fill the holes, and you can't fill all the holes from the draft, especially when you have a quarterback that's older like Ben, who's trying to win now. You're trying to win now. I think Al, you said it before. You're trying to win now. You can't spend a lot of time trying to develop at this time because you have a franchise quarterback still, if he's healthy, that can get you to a Super Bowl if you get some people that can play today. That can play this season and make an impact this season as long as they're healthy.
Right.
Drafting a tight end from the draft, like you said, wouldn't make a lot of sense because, they can't help us right away unless they're an impact player. Kavon Walker, I like him. Like I said, I think he's going to make an impact right away. Stephen, we talked about him a little bit.
Yeah, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings too, Stephen.
Yeah, he's got the experience.
From 2 different teams. So that always impresses me.
And just the most recent team, that's what I like too.
Yes.
And he's going to bolster up that line, like you were saying. Ramon Foster retired. Our line looked a little older. They looked a little, they not that young line they were 3 seasons ago. Where they was the best. I think they still one of the best O lines in the league. But everybody's aging up. You know what I mean? So you have to get ready to replace those guys. I think we got another tackle too. What's his name? Let me find his name here. Zach Banner. A tackle. We'll see what he's able to do. So like I said, I think they're filling some holes, especially if anything, they got some depth on the O line now with those 2 guys coming in. They may reach in the draft and get some linemen. To see.
Because BJ Finney was too.
Just to correct, Zach Banner was there last year too. So he wasn't a pickup. He was there last year.
He's a re-sign. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, he's a re-sign.
Yeah.
And I think the other big. I think now this is the one we haven't mentioned yet, but this is going to be big. Derek Watt. That's going to be big. That's big because 2 reasons. I think first of all, he's going to be a good fullback. I think he's going to make an impact, special teams for sure. Definitely on offense. And the thing I like about the Watt brothers, all of them, Derek, TJ, and is it Derek Watt, TJ, JJ. That's right. There's too many of them.
Too many J.
But the moment that we drafted TJ Watt, I was like, that's going to be great because those boys have work ethic. They know how to play. They play the game, and they play the game right. And they play the game hard. And when they picked up Derek Watt, I said, oh, man, he's going to be playing with his brother. Man, come on. We already got a set of brothers on the team with the Edmonds boys. I think it's something about when you're able to keep brothers together and play football together that helps, man. You never know, man. You might mess around one day and see JJ Watt on the team, man. They keep these brothers together, and JJ, keep getting older and aging out and hit this free agent market. Might have all 3 of them one day, but I think that's going to be a big pickup too. I think that was a big free agent signing, and I think that's like under the radar that people not really paying attention to. But I think when the season starts, you're going to hear his name a lot.
Right. Derek Watt, he's a special teams ace. If y'all have seen his special teams highlights, this man here, man, he the special teams unit has gotten upgraded big time. Like I mentioned, I think off the air, I don't think San Diego Chargers used Derek Watt as much as they could have on offense. Yeah. And I think we're gonna try that out. He's able to catch balls in open field. He's able to shrug off tacklers. I think he can be used in the third down dump off type pass situations a little more than what San Diego did. He's just a good guy to have on your team. He can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing, and one thing too, he stays healthy. He's durable, and that's one thing that Rosie Nix, our former fullback, healthy last year.
Right.
So I think that was one. I think that was part of the reason too why our run game was kind of not the way it used to be. It was kind of slow because we never had our full lineup in. Whether it was James Conner hurt or Benny Snell hurt or Rosie Nix, who was hurt most of the season. So I think that's why they had to go out and get a fullback like Derek Watt, who is in the same caliber as Rosie Nix and who stays healthy. He doesn't have a history of injuries, where Rosie Nix, had a history of injuries, last year and the season before.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, I think overall the free agent signings were good. Let's jump. We got a few minutes left, fellas. Let's jump. Let's jump into this draft picks, man. Let's talk about what we think they're going to do in next week when it comes to this draft. And I'll go ahead and just start this one off, man. Of course, we know we don't have a first round pick this year. Minka Fitzpatrick, you can kind of take him as a first round pick. I think, hey, just imagine in your head that was our pick, and that's good. I think that's the best we could do. That's like, hey, you can't get no better than that. So
that's right.
If we gave up a first round pick to get him, I don't think anybody's arguing that.
No, some people are.
Well, some people might, but yeah, we know how it is, man. Nobody can everybody, right?
Yeah.
And if they are, the people that are complaining about that, they're crazy because that saved the season.
Yeah. Oh man, you can't ask for a better first round pick than what Fitzpatrick production gave us. I mean, golly, you're not gonna get that. I mean, if you do, you were just lucky. But a lot of times, your first round pick ain't gonna produce like that.
Yeah. So without Minka Fitzpatrick, we go 1-15.
No, I mean I don't think we go 1-15, but I think without Minka Fitzpatrick, our defense is definitely not elite. Definitely.
Oh yeah, well, for sure.
He's the difference between winning a Super Bowl and not winning a Super Bowl. I mean, him and Devin Bush too. Him and Devin Bush, man, they are the differences in championship defense.
We haven't won a Super Bowl yet, so you can't say he's the difference between winning a Super Bowl and not winning a Super Bowl. We haven't won a Super Bowl.
We have won a Super Bowl. I'm saying as far as trying to win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. I mean,
you're not winning a Super Bowl without those two guys on the Steelers team. Is what I'm saying. You need dynamic defensive players, and we got two of those.
Yeah, you definitely saw the difference between him and Sean Davis. Now Devin Bush, he had his struggles.
Sean Davis was looking like garbage back there.
Right. I mean, I don't want to. But Sean Davis wasn't garbage. I mean, he was
looking like something though.
We ain't even had a safety man since Palomar.
I think too the Steelers kept moving him around. I mean, when we first drafted him, we started him at nickel quarterback. Then we moved him to free safety. Then we moved him to strong safety. So we kept moving him around. So he never really got comfortable in one position. But he was never the ball hawk type of safety that Minka Fitzpatrick was.
Right. That's what you need.
Horrible safety, but he was never a safety like Minka Fitzpatrick. And Minka Fitzpatrick was like a top 10 pick. So it's explanatory. I mean, you see. So, but Devin Bush did have his struggles. Now, I don't want to, act like Devin Bush was he was definitely a linebacker that we are going to definitely use in the future. He was definitely worth, trading up for the pick. But in the beginning of the season, he definitely did have his struggles, and you saw. But I think as the season progressed, he started settling in, and he started, getting comfortable with things and understanding his role. And I think now that's why you saw the release of Mark Barron, because now I think he's going to step into that role of calling the defense and being that linebacker and dime and calling the plays. Because last year that was Mark Barron. That wasn't Devin Bush. Devin Bush was off the field during dime.
Bush had an outstanding rookie season. I mean, of course he had some mistakes, but I mean, man, the stuff he was out there doing, he had that's why they're going to change it over to him. It sounds like to start calling the plays.
I mean, to me, he reminds me of Ryan Shazier. And that's the reason why they had to bring him in. I mean, when Ryan went down, unfortunately, how he did, and we never get him back. But you go and get Devin Bush, who plays just like a Ryan Shazier. I think he might be a little bit better as far as when he first came into the league.
I think his rookie year is better than Shazier's rookie year.
But I could imagine if we were able to have both of them together, man. That would, my goodness, could you imagine Ryan Shazier, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Devin Bush on defense with T.J. Watt and freaking Bud Dupree finally showed up? I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
that defense
we probably would never trade it up to get Devin Bush if we would still have.
I know, but I'm just saying, say miraculously, you know what I mean? Say, Ryan Shazier was able to come back right now. Say he was able to come back and play some football. I don't think he's going to be able to play at that level again, unfortunately. Especially at such a young age, man. I hate to see that. I hate to see it happen when it happened, but but I just just imagine that if that was able to be the case, that would be awesome, man. But let's slide over to this draft, man, and what's going to happen on next week, man. I'm gonna go ahead and start off, and we're just going to really kind of focus on the second round pick that we have. Maybe later we'll go into these third and fourth rounds. Maybe on our next show next week when we start talking a little bit more in depth about the draft. But let's talk about what we think. Some players that might be interesting to us in the draft. I know for me, just right off the top, I'm gonna just name two guys that I like. And if they're around at pick 49, in the second round, I think it would be good to get either one for offense, one for defense. I know you said Johnson maybe turning the corner to being the number one receiver, maybe not. But I like Michael Pittman, man, out of USC. You watch that kid; he's a big guy, 6'4", like 230, runs like a 4.5 40. You know what I mean? Big target. Can go up and get the ball, man. I like him. I think he can come in and make an impact right away. If you watch the NFL, unless you're a really really skilled and really high level receiver like a Metcalf for the Seahawks, or like a Randy Moss, it's hard to really kind of come in and make an impact immediately, you know, as a receiver, because there's a lot to learn from the NFL game from college game to the NFL game coming in as a receiver. But I think he can make an impact, especially with the weapons they already have around. Like you said, you got Eric Ebron. You're going to have a target in the middle of the field, a big target. You're going to have a big red zone target. You can line Eric Ebron out like they were doing with Gronkowski in New England, and let him up and go get fades on cornerbacks or safeties or whatever in the red zone. So I think your red zone targets are going to be good with him. So I think Michael Pittman can come in. And then also on defense, we know we got a little depth at corner, but even at safety, I think it's going to be about depth. We got Minka, you got Edmonds back there, but a little bit of depth. I know Davis will be back there, but I don't. Davis is okay to me. That's just my opinion. But Anton Winfield out of Minnesota, I like him too, man. He's a little bit shorter of a guy, but at the same time, he plays hard, man. He plays the game. He hits. He's a playmaker. He goes. He's looking for the football. He's a ball hawk, man. Those are the kind of players that I like to see in the Steelers secondary, man. Those guys, I think they can come in. If you want to build going for the future, I think those are two guys, in my opinion, that going forward in the future, I think they can make a definite impact, and they can probably be around for a while. You know what I mean? It had to play out, but I think they can be around for a while.
Yeah, man. I think we definitely do need depth at safety, especially with Davis. Us letting go Sean Davis and he signed with the Redskins. I think that we just signed Jordan Dangerfield to a 1-year extension. But Jordan, if us Steelers fans know, Dangerfield is not. He's not a capable safety. He's more of a special teams guy. So I think, as far as depth in the safety position, I like Anton Winfield if he's there at 49. Yeah. And just as far as bloodlines, Mike Tomlin coached his dad when he was with the Buccaneers. He was a running back. Yeah. So they have some familiarity there, and so I think that could be, especially with the coronavirus going on, they're going to go with more familiar things, and that they're comfortable with instead of taking risks. So I think, Anton Winfield could be a guy. I think Brandon Jones from Texas. I think if you guys, haven't heard of him, you guys check him out. I think he's another good safety. He's a good tackler. He's not really the ball hawk type, but he's a guy who can come down, make tackles, make big hits. I like that type of play there too. Michael Pittman for sure. I like Michael Pittman. He's a big, tall receiver that can, catch contested passes. Could be really useful in the red zone. Put him in the slot, get some mismatch types. Down the middle of the field. Maybe if Denzel Mims is there, maybe. But he might not be there. All right, I want to address this running back situation, man, because I see a lot of fans. There's some analysts talking about drafting a running back in the second round. Yeah. I mean, let me say this. If you're going to draft a running back that high, right, I'm okay with it if he's going to play right away, right? If he's going to play right away, I'm fine, right? Because if you're going to get a running back, you want to get a good one. And that's the best, that's the highest one to get. That's going to be the highest pick to get a good running back. And and it's a good running back class this year if you want to play him right away. But I don't think the Steelers are going to sit here and say, "Hey, let's get a rookie quarterback. A rookie running back, and bring him in and play him in front of James Conner and Benny Snell, two experienced backs that have been playing pretty good last season, even though they were injured, but they played pretty well. And I don't understand. They just drafted Benny Snell last year in the 4th round. So it's why would you, if you're going to draft a running back in the 2nd round, what is that going to say to Benny Snell? What did you draft him for? If you can turn back around and draft a running back again in the 2nd round of this this draft, it just doesn't make any sense. I get that James Conner is not, he's probably not going to be here next year because he hasn't been healthy. That's fine. You can, you don't have to sign him back. This is his last year of his contract. So if you want to get a running back next year in the draft, right? because James Conner's not going to be here, that's fine. But getting a running back now, it just doesn't make any sense because he's not going to get a lot of playing time. He's not going to come in and start over 2 running backs that have been here already. It just doesn't make any sense. And the way the running back is going, in this era, you got to play running backs right away because they're not lasting long. They're not getting long-term deals. I know Christian McCaffrey just got a long-term deal, but he's more – yeah, he's different. He's more of a receiving back. You know what I'm saying? He's not getting all these touches. You know what I'm saying? He can do more for your offense.
That's a bad
man.
That's a bad man, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, he's a good overall player, right? And I just don't understand. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Not to me.
Some people would say that the Steelers are looking to find the next Christian McCaffrey. That's why they're trying to draft a running back. Because I've seen what you've seen. People, these analysts and other people saying we need to get a running back in the draft at 49, but they seem to be looking for a number one, quote unquote number one back. I don't even think the Steelers need a quote unquote number one back. You know what I mean? Right. They can keep doing what they've been doing, running back by committee, and whoever's healthy that week or whoever's ready to play, whoever's playing best that day, give them the football and let Ben do what he do with the receivers and the tight ends that he's going to have. But, Al, what say you?
Well, I'm going to disagree just a little bit. And this is the reason why I'm going to say this. The Steelers have a history of sometimes when we have a season, right, or a year or a team, rather, that we really don't need nothing in an emergency. We got a pretty good team, actually. I think when we lose in our first round pick, so when the second round comes up, a lot of guys are going to be gone, right? So I think that this could be one of those years where the Steelers will pick the best available football player. Now, if that happens to be a running back, that can happen because there's not a lot of people picking running backs in the first round. Like the cornerbacks, oh gosh, I got like at least 8 that are gone in the first round. And then wide receivers, probably the same thing. But if there's some running backs left, I would think that we would look into that. Just to give competition to Benny Snells and Connor. These guys, they're great running backs, but they can use a little competition, We're still looking for that Le'Veon Bell type guy, and we don't have that yet.
Yeah, but here's my counter to that. So you're telling me you're going to spend your second round pick, your highest pick,
where you don't need
running back. But listen, on a running back who's not going to play, he's not going to play.
But you don't, if he's the best available player, because we don't have an urgent need where we got to get a certain position at second.
Right, you don't have an urgent need, but you can spend that on somebody like a backup safety or a Michael Pittman Jr., a guy.
A second round pick cannot be a back. You can't get a backup.
So Al, let me ask you a question, right? So would you do that, right? Would you, if you're the GM of Pittsburgh right now, Al, and you have a choice at running back, you have that 49th pick, and you can get a running back, and say you get the best running back there is available at that time. Say you cancel all the other picks, right? And you do get a running back that's the best available. To JJ's point, are you starting him over Benny Snell and Connor?
No, sure you won't. No, you'll have a competition, obviously, in the summer. I mean, Clyde Edwards from LSU, he could be available, man. They're not going to pass over him, I don't think, if he's sitting there. I mean,
they will.
Huh?
I think they will. I don't think because
– I mean, for instance, he's a guy that's like used to a pass-happy offense. He thrives in those kind of situations where he can get the ball when defenses aren't expecting it. Then they got some tall guys, too. I was looking at A.J. Dillon. 6 foot, 247. This dude is a pure runner. From what I've seen, he can get through that hole, man. He's a big guy. He can catch a little bit. And then, of course, there's another guy, Antonio Gibson. He's another 6 foot guy, 228. They use him a lot for catching balls. I mean, I don't think we need any more catchers type players. We got so many good fortune situations going on with our receivers and tight ends that we don't need a running back who acts like a receiver. But a pure running back such as Michael Pittman or A.J. Dillon, 6 feet, 247, man.
Michael Pittman's the wide receiver.
And help Ben out.
Oh, yeah,
Michael Pittman's the wide receiver.
Yeah, Michael Pittman's the receiver.
I'm sorry. A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
I said Dillon.
Okay.
Yeah.
A.J. Dillon and Antonio Gibson are the
the higher guys that people are talking about for the second round pick are people like DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers. Those are really the top 4 backs that people are talking about getting.
Yeah, they'll be gone. Yeah.
Well, no, not all. No, I mean, no. Some of those guys are probably going to be there because running backs they probably don't go off the board until the start of the second round. So probably two or maybe one of those guys are going to be there. But my whole argument is you're going to spend a second round pick on a running back not going to play.
Could be a franchise running back though.
But he's not going to play though.
Do we have a franchise running back right now, in your opinion?
From what Mike Tomlin said, he said Benny Snell shows franchise back type capabilities. So,
well, Mike Tomlin says that about everybody.
No, he doesn't.
When he says capabilities, he says
right, but you got to take into account from what they're saying. They just drafted Benny Snell in the 4th round last year.
I didn't think Benny. That's the other thing too. And this is why I agree with the running back situation because I did some research on that because I was trying to figure that out too. I was like, why does everybody keep talking about running back? Steelers getting a running back, and I heard people talking about this franchise running back thing. But then when you go back and watch the season between Benny Snell, between Jalen Samuels, and between who else was back there? Was it Edmonds back there? Was the other running back? I think
it was
Connor when he got because Connor got hurt. But if you just look at Connor and Benny Snell, I mean, when Benny Snell when they were healthy, man, you could 1-2 them all day. I thought, you know what I mean. When I was watching the games, I'm like, you could bring Connor in a couple of times to do some different things. You can bring because Connor when Le'Veon went out. Last not 2019 but 2018 season when Le'Veon held out the rest of the year. Look, Connor stepped his game up, man. He had to go catch the football because they were so used to having a running back that could step out of the backfield, catch the ball.
Yeah.
Connor actually worked on his game. You could tell he had worked on that from his rookie year to that second year to actually catching the football out the backfield. He was a little beat up last season, yes, but I think he might not be a franchise running back, but he's serviceable. Same thing with Benny Snell. I think they're serviceable, man.
No, we have pretty good running backs. It's just that who's ever available, I think, is going to be the determining factor because you don't want to waste your second round pick. I mean, you can't just be so gun ho on a position that you pick it in the second round, and that position, the guy that you picked, is not worth a second round pick. Because, like I said, we don't have an emergency at any position. So, in the running backs, from what I'm looking at, it seems like they're going to be some available. They're going to be some good guys. I mean, we could use one of those guys.
There's no. But here, okay. But here's what I'm saying. Would you rather use your second round pick on a guy who's not going to play, who's not going to see the field at all in his first season, or would you rather spend a second round pick on a guy like a Anton Winfield or Michael Pittman Jr., a wide receiver or a safety who's going to get significantly more playing time and make an impact right away? Whether if you get a running back, he's not going to make an impact at all because you have two experienced guys in front of him.
Well, yeah, I would make an exception for Michael Pittman because he's the big receiver that Ben always wanted. But I don't think we pick a safety in the second round. Not with Fitzpatrick and Edmonds back.
No, it's not a safety. It's not a safety to start. It's a safety for depth. That dime type player that we don't have right now, right? Because last year what the Steelers wanted to do, they were trying to get three safeties on the field. You got to remember with Morgan Burnett, that's why we signed Morgan Burnett 2 years ago because they wanted to have him, Morgan Burnett, and Edmonds on the field at the same time. Unfortunately, Morgan Burnett couldn't stay healthy. He didn't want to play that position anyway, so we got him out of there. So now we're still looking for that guy who can be that third safety on the field.
Right. Well, like I say, if there's a better safety on the board, then there are running backs that are available. Yeah, because I think they're going to go with the best available. So I
just don't see running back. Running back just makes no sense to me. It just doesn't make sense.
It makes sense when Connor get hurt and then Snell get hurt. It makes a lot of sense.
But here's the thing, though. What if they don't get hurt? Right? We're just assuming both of them are going to get hurt. If they don't get hurt, then you have a second round pick on the bench. That's not good. Especially in this day and time, that's not good.
Well, here's the thing. At the end of the day, we're going to find out next week, right? Like, we all got varied opinions, you know what I mean? Like you said, I can understand. I can see both sides. I can agree with both.
You can't never have enough running backs on your team.
I can agree with having not getting a running back, and I can agree with getting a running back, but I understand that if we do get a running back, he may not play like that. Who knows? But like you say, you don't want to waste a second-round pick on a guy who's not really going to play or make an impact. But listen, man, we all could be surprised. We could be sitting around watching the draft next week, and guess who pops out? A running back with the 49th pick in the NFL draft this year, and they pick out one of those running backs, and we all gonna be sitting here talking about, man, why did they pick a running back? You know what I mean? So
I'm not against getting a running back, right? My thing is, if you are going to get a running back with that 49th pick, he's got to play right away. He can't come into the season sitting on the bench because you got Benny Snell and Connor playing, right? Because rookie running backs are not going to be good at pass protection anyway. Yeah, so with Ben coming back straight off, with Ben coming back straight off injury, he's not going to rookie running back protecting him. No, that's ridiculous. He really gonna get killed. So you can take that rookie running back off the field on third down right away because he's not going to pass protect. So where else is he going to play? So that's my whole thing. If you're going to take a running back, he's got to play right away. And I just don't see a rookie running back playing right away with two guys in front of him that have shown that they can run the ball and carry.
But you can say that for all the positions. There's guys in front of people. We don't have an urgent position that we need.
Right, but running back is one of those positions where you only need one or two guys. Where wide receiver you can use 4 or 5 wide receivers on the field at the same time. Where running back you only need one or two guys.
Well, with running backs you sub them in and out if you have 3. If you want to play 3 of them, right? I mean, you don't have to just play 2 all day.
But what I'm saying is, a running back is not. He needs to get rhythm, right? So if you're constantly rotating 1, 2, and 3 running backs throughout the whole game, they're never going to get any rhythm.
So do you think? Well, let me ask you this then. No, I agree with some of the stuff you're saying, but there is going to be a competition this summer, and so you're saying that Benny Snell may not get beat out, or Connor may not get beat out by running back from LSU or AJ Dillon at 247, 6 feet that can't nobody tackle in college. I mean,
I'm saying you have to take into fact that this is the NFL. So a rookie running back is not going to come in and take a guy like James Conner or Benny Snell's spot right away because there's so much stuff they have to learn, let alone there is no rookie minicamp. There is no OTAs because this coronavirus stuff.
Yeah, that's gonna be the thing. Like that, and that makes sense too because you gotta remember that is gonna happen because the draft is now. You typically right after the draft they go to minicamp.
Right.
Rookie minicamp. They're not even gonna have that like that this year because of what's going on. So, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna probably try to find a way to do something, but they're not gonna be able to do that normal. Catch them boys up. So, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're gonna find out on draft day. It's gonna be interesting, and it sounds like we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week. So, any closing thoughts, guys, as far as the draft coming up? I mean, I know we done covered a lot, but any kind of closing, talk?
Yeah, I just think people are, just completely disregarding Benny Snell. Like he's just some guy that doesn't exist, right? I mean, this guy Benny Snell had a good season last year. I mean, he came back, he carried the load, he showed that he can do this thing.
No, you can't. My thing is, I don't want to waste our second round. I mean, we could get a defensive lineman that's in the
right.
We didn't talk about that, but they really could.
We just can't pick
could have got a defensive lineman, right?
And the talent ain't there. That's all. We can't be stuck on a position and we pick it, and the talent not worthy of a second round.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I think running back is the least of our problem, right? That's what I'm saying. I think running back is least of our problem. I think we have bigger needs than a running back.
What did we rank last year on the ground? What did we rank last year running the ball?
Oh, I don't think we did.
But that was.
I mean, I'm just asking. I ain't trying to be smart. I mean, what
happened with,
let's find out real quick.
That'll tell the story on whether they're going.
No, we didn't do good running the ball last year. No. But I think that was a product of our offensive line. That was a product of Rosie Nix not being healthy. That was a product of James Conner not being healthy. That was a product of our offense just couldn't do anything because we had 2 young rookie quarterbacks playing. So it was a lot of stuff, that factored into our running game. And let's be clear here, our running game wasn't good in 2018 either. Okay, so let's not act like it was just all of a sudden.
Yes, Steelers were bad. They were bad running the ball last year. You're looking at
right. Yeah, they were bad last year. Right.
28th looked like in the league.
Right. Yeah. Right. But that wasn't all on the running back.
That's not going to get a Super Bowl though.
No, it's right. You got to run the ball.
Sure not. Yeah, it's not. But you can't put that all on the running back. And look, I've never been a big fan of James Conner anyway. Right. I've always said the way he runs the ball, he's going to get a lot of injuries. But that's not to say go out and get a running back in the second round when we just drafted Benny Snell last year. That just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Because what are you telling Benny Snell?
Well, here's a 4th round pick, though. I mean,
right. But
he's not a second round running back.
Right, but okay, but does that make sense though? To spend a 4th round pick on a guy in Benny Snell last year who played and then turn back around in the 2nd round and get another running back. That doesn't make sense.
I gotta look at his highlight. I didn't see a lot of Benny. I gotta look at Benny Snell. I know he wasn't bad from what I saw.
He was good.
He's not bad.
No, he's not bad. He's not bad at all.
So yeah, I think, man, like I said, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out next week. But and we're gonna have a lot
can't
to
waste
talk about
that 2nd round.
So, but hey, that's a good talk today, fellas. Everybody out there, once again, y'all hit us up, subscribe to the channel, man. Check us out. We just starting. This is gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna do this all season, going into next season. We're gonna keep it up, y'all. Hit us up in the comments, questions. Let us know what y'all think about the draft situation. Do we need a running back? Do we not need a running back? Do we need what's more important? Let's talk about it. So hit us up in the comments. We're gonna catch y'all next week. Remember, Towels Up Podcast, y'all get y'all towels out, man. Sit back, listen, and just keep tuning in. We'll be back at y'all next week. Yo, holla.
Peace.
Get your towels up. Get your terrible towels up. Still the diamonds. Yellow, blue, and red.
Coming at you hard like Harrison on the blitz. Palu Malu style. You can call it.